What's a story, amigos? This is Kino with some cool stories for today's story time.
In our first story, we'll meet three little wolves who are very scared of the big bad pig.
He huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed. But the house wouldn't fall down.
Then a wolf gives his side of the story of the three little pigs in a book read by Tim Allen.
I just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed. I tried to cover my mouth, but I just sneeze.
That's you.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bings so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the annual financial support from viewers like you.
What else could it be? I think we should bring three.
Oh, hi. Hi, everybody. Hey, listen, I'm glad you came because Angelica and Cody and Carolyn all came to visit us today, and we were waiting for you so we could read some really cool books. Right, you guys?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. Listen, do you remember the story of the three little pigs and the big bad wolf?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember how that goes. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin.
That's
Yeah.
right. Well, let me ask you something. In the story of the three little pigs, who are the good guys and who are the bad guys?
Go
Go ahead.
The good guys are the pigs and the bad guys the wolf.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
There's no real answer for that one.
You don't think there's a real answer?
No? Well, gosh, I think the wolf is the bad guy.
Why?
Well, because he goes around knocking the pigs' houses down. That's why they call him the big bad wolf.
Well, what if I told you that I have a book about three little wolves and the big bad pig?
Oh, not even. That's not how it goes. You have it backwards, right, you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You think I have it backwards? But no,
Sure you
I
do.
don't. Look, let me read you this book, and then you can tell me who the big bad guy is, okay? This book is called The Three Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig, and it was written by Eugene Trevises and illustrated by Helen Oxenbury. Once upon a time, there were three cuddly little wolves with soft fur and fluffy tails who lived with their mother. The first was black, the second was gray, and the third was white. One day, the mother called the three little wolves around her and said, "My children, it is time for you to go out into the world. Go and build a house for yourselves. But beware of the big, bad pig." "Don't worry, Mother. We will watch out for him," said the three little wolves, and they set off. Soon, they met a kangaroo who was pushing a wheelbarrow full of red and yellow bricks. "Please, will you give us some of your bricks?" asked the three little wolves. "Certainly," said the kangaroo, and she gave them lots of red and yellow bricks. So the three little wolves built themselves a house of bricks. The very next day, the big, bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of bricks that the little wolves had built. The three little wolves were playing croquet in the garden. When they saw the big, bad pig coming, they ran inside the house and locked the door. The pig knocked on the door and grunted, little wolves, let me come in." No, said the three little wolves. "By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in." not let you in for all the tea leaves in our china teapot. Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house down, said the pig. So he huffed and he puffed and he puffed and he huffed. But the house wouldn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and fetched his sledgehammer and knocked the house down. Oh, the three little wolves only just managed to escape before the bricks crumbled, and they were very frightened indeed. We shall have to build a stronger house, they said. Just then they saw a beaver who was mixing concrete in a concrete mixer. Please, will you give us some of your concrete? Asked the three little wolves. Certainly, said the beaver, and he gave them buckets and buckets full of messy, slurry concrete. So the three little wolves built themselves a house of concrete.
Concrete.
No sooner had they finished than the big, bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of concrete that the little wolves had built. They were playing battledore and shuttlecock in the garden. And when they saw the big, bad pig coming, they ran inside their house and they shut the door. The pig rang the bell and said, "Little frightened wolves, let me come in." No, said the three little wolves. By the hair on our chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down, said the pig. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he huffed. But the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He went and fetched his pneumatic drill and smashed the house down. The three little wolves managed to escape, but their chinny chins were trembling and trembling and trembling. We shall build an even stronger house, they said, because they were very determined. Just then they saw a truck coming along the road carrying barbed wire, iron bars, armor plates, and heavy metal padlocks. Please, will you give us some of your barbed wire? A few iron bars and armor plates and some heavy metal padlocks? They said to the rhinoceros who was driving the truck. Sure, said the rhinoceros. And he gave them plenty of barbed wire, iron bars, armor plates, and heavy metal padlocks. He also gave them some plexiglass and some reinforced steel chains because he was a very generous and kind-hearted rhinoceros. So, the three little wolves built themselves an extremely strong house. Wouldn't you say? Yeah. It was the strongest, securest house one could possibly imagine. They felt absolutely safe. Would you?
Yeah, sure.
The next day, the big, bad pig came prowling along the road as usual. The three little wolves were playing hopscotch in the garden. When they saw the big, bad pig coming, they ran inside their house, bolted the door, and locked all the 37 padlocks. Pig dialed the video entrance phone and said,
Little frightened wolves with the trembling chins, let me come in.
No, said the wolves. By the hair on our chinny chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot. Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down, said the pig. So he huffed, and he puffed, and he puffed, and he puffed. But the house didn't fall down. But the pig wasn't called big and bad for nothing. He brought some dynamite, laid it against the house, lit the fuse, and the house blew up. Oh, the three little wolves just managed to escape with their fluffy tails scorched. Something must be wrong with our building materials, they said. We have to try something different. But what? At that moment, they saw a flamingo coming along, pushing a wheelbarrow full of flowers. Please, will you give us some flowers? Asked the little wolves. With pleasure, said the flamingo. And he gave them lots of flowers. So the three little wolves built themselves a house of flowers.
Flowers, yeah.
One wall was of marigolds, one of daffodils, one of pink roses, and one of cherry blossoms. The ceiling was made of sunflowers, and the floor was a carpet of daisies. They had water lilies in their bathtub and buttercups in their refrigerator. It was a rather fragile house, and it swayed in the wind. Oh, it was very beautiful. Next day, the big, bad pig came prowling down the road and saw the house of flowers that the three little wolves had built. He rang the blue bell at the door and said,
Little frightened wolves with the trembling chins and the scorched tails, let me come in.
No, 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 said the three little wolves. By the hair on our chinny chin chins, we will not let you in, not for all the tea leaves in our china teapot. Then
I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house
down, said the pig. But as he took a deep breath, ready to huff and puff, he smelled the soft scent of the flowers. It was fantastic. And because the scent was so lovely, the pig took another breath and another. And instead of huffing and puffing, he began to sniff. He sniffed deeper and deeper until he was quite filled with the fragrant scent. His heart grew tender, and he realized how horrible he had been. Right then, he decided to become a big, good pig. He started to sing and to dance the tarantela. At first, the three little wolves were a bit worried. It might be a trick. But soon they realized that the pig had truly changed. So they came running out of the house. They started playing games with him. First, they played Pig Pug, and then Piggy in the middle. And when they were all tired, they invited him into the house. They offered him tea and strawberries and wolfberries, of course, and asked him to stay with them as long as he wanted. The pig accepted their invitation, and they all lived happily together ever after. Well, who do you think the bad guy was in this story?
I think that no one was the bad guy in that story. Until in the middle, he was the bad guy, and at the end, he wasn't.
You're right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a very good point. What do you think?
I think that he was bad and good.
That's right. I guess we all can be kind of good and bad at the same time.
Well, you know, that was such a funny story because it's like the story of the three little pigs, but now the wolf was not the bad guy, the pig was the bad guy.
That's right. Let me ask you something. Can a pig and a wolf be friends?
No. Yes.
Yes, no,
Wait
yes,
a minute.
no.
I've got to hear this answer. Yes and no. Yes?
In this book, they turned out to be friends. They can't be friends because the wolf hunts the pig.
That's a very good point. What do you think, Ian?
Well, for a wolf and a pig to be friends, the wolf has to start eating veggies and quit eating pork chops. And that's not gonna happen because meat is what wolves are supposed to eat to stay alive. My grandpa told me that.
Well, actually, I have a book here with a picture of a real wolf. And as you can see, wolves and dogs they must be related because this does look like a large dog, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you something. What other stories can you think of that have wolves in them?
Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Absolutely. That's a great one.
What else?
What else?
Peter and the Wolf.
Yeah, Peter and the Wolf.
Right.
That's good.
Three Little Pigs.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, you know, wolves usually are the bad guy in stories because farmers, would always think that wolves were stealing their animals, their sheep and their pigs and their horses.
And the wolves don't eat pigs?
Well, of course, some of them do, but problem is not as common as people thought.
Well, as my grandpa said, wolves can't help it. They're just doing what they're supposed to, eating other animals. That's what they eat.
Wolves like to eat meat. Kino likes to read stories.
Who said that?
I don't know who said it, but it doesn't matter, because he's right. I like stories.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Tim. Come on in.
Hi, kids. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Mr. Allen.
You know, I heard you guys talking about wolves, my favorite subject, so I brought one of my favorite stories about wolves.
Well, which one is it?
Before I answer the question, let me ask all of you this. What if you were a wolf and I said, you're really bad?
I'll scratch you. I would think he's bad.
I know what I'd say.
What would you say?
I think I'd say, I'm not a bad guy. I'm just a regular wolf.
See, if I were a wolf, I'd say, no, wait, what about my side of the story? What if the wolf had his own side of the story? See, you should always listen to both sides of the story before you make your decision.
I think that's right.
Yes.
If I were a wolf,
Which you're not.
which I'm not,
Yes.
but if I were a wolf and somebody said I was bad, I would say, no, I'm not. I'm just a regular sort of guy. Yeah.
That's right. Now, see, if you asked a wolf, let's say if you asked me, and I've said I'm a wolf. Look,
Yeah.
and let's say if I'm a wolf, I would write a book, a wolf.
You would write a book?
I would write a book called A Wolf, by a wolf.
But wolves can't write. But wolves can't write.
Wait a minute, though. That book says it's by
A wolf. And I'm not talking about by B-U-I. That would mean buy a wolf. And how dumb would it be to go to the store and buy a wolf? Can you just go up in the hills and just, dress like a chicken? They'll come down and they'll just eat you. They don't actually eat chicken. They don't like chickens. Anyway, buy a wolf. He didn't write. You're right. Wolves can't write. You're a little old for this, right? So you know that. You know the truth.
I like the book.
Well, wolves can paint, and wolves can dress well, and wolves can sing, and wolves, some of them can drive buses, not cars, but they can drive, but they cannot write. No, they cannot write, okay?
No,
okay, they can't write. Because they got the thing with the fingers, hooves, and pads. Nothing to hold the pen there,
They
okay?
can't hold a pen, right?
They can't hold a pen.
That's right.
Well, let's hear the wolf side then.
Yeah. And then we'll make up our minds about who's the good guy and who's the bad guy.
The true story, The Three Little Pigs, by a wolf. It's a little play on words.
A wolf. Yeah.
Everyone knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because no one's ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it's all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheeps and pigs. That's just the way we are. Now, look, if cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad, too. Anyway, like I was saying, the whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Way back in Once Upon a Time land, I was making a birthday cake for our dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, "Hey, little pig, you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. That's when my nose started itch. Ooh, I felt a sneeze coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, woo, boy, and I sneezed that. Boy, is it a great sneeze. Whoa, boy, I tell you. And you know what? The whole darn house fell down. Right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He'd been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner laying in there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger just lying there.
I'll eat it. What a double cheeseburger. Yeah, double.
I was feeling a little better, right? But I didn't get my cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not that much. He built his house out of sticks. I rang the bell in the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, "Yo, Mr. Pig. Mr. Pig, you in?" He yelled back, "You go away, Wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs of my chinny chin chin." I just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed. I tried to cover my mouth, but I just sneeze.
That's you.
You're not gonna believe this. The guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Ooh. Now, you know how food spoils when you leave it out in the open, so I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better. I still didn't have the cup of sugar for my dear old granny. So I went to the next guy's house. This next guy was the first and second. This next guy was the first and second.
Sorry.
This guy was the first and second pig's brother. He must have been the brains of the family. He built a house out of bricks. Brick. Smart little pig. I knock on the brick house. Bloodied my knuckles. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. No answer. So I said, "Hey, Mr. Pig." "Whoa, Mr. Pig. You in?" And you know what that rude little porker says? "Get out of here, Wolf, and don't bother me again." Look about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar in there. Wouldn't give me one little cup for my dear old granny's birthday. My dear old granny. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake. When I felt my cold coming on, I huffed, snuffed, and I sneezed once again. And that third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can sit on a pin." Usually I'm a pretty calm guy. But when someone talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down a pig's door, and the whole time I'm huffing and puffing and sneezing to make it a real scene. The rest, as they say, is history. Look at the wolf. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. They jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow the house down. And they made me the big, bad wolf. And that's it, the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar? And that's it, kids. That's the real story right there.
And,
By a wolf.
gee, now I'm not so sure about who the bad guy is.
You can trust this guy.
I guess so.
But how do you know? Just because he looks bad doesn't mean you can't trust him. You know, on the other hand, look at the pig's face. That one that's not a real... Does that look like a... Look at this.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't look that
who's the
trustworthy
bad guy
either.
here?
Oh, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
One thing. What does framed mean?
Framed means if you haven't done something wrong and other people make it seem like you have done something wrong. That's called being framed. And don't let anybody ever do that to you.
Gee, that'd be pretty nasty if somebody did.
Yes, of course it would. Who wants to be in a frame? Hanging there on the wall.
I know I don't.
Stay away from framing altogether.
Well, thanks a lot for reading to us, Mr. Allen.
You know what? I've had a sparkling good time. You guys have been
Have
very
you?
interesting. Thanks for letting me read to you.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. Thanks a lot. And let's not forget to do our story pigs, Mara. You get it? See, story pigs.
Very good, Kino. Very good. Actually, we have two story picks that are two different versions of the story of the Three Little Pigs.
Oh, yeah, there's one right there.
Here, you go hold it up.
No, that's okay. You hold it up.
No,
It's
you go
called
ahead.
Yo, Hungry
hold it up.
Wolf.
Come
Yo.
on.
No, because I got to do the yo thing.
Yeah,
Here I
at least
go.
you can,
Yo, Hungry Wolf. Yo.
Well, our other book is called The Three Little Javelinas. Javelinas are little hairy pigs from the American Southwest, and a coyote is after them.
Gee, I wonder who the bad guy is in that story.
Well, friends, thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope you'll join us the next time. And until then,
Keep a story in your heart. Everybody's supposed to say that together. Keep a story. Adios, everybody.
today's Storytime books are The Three Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig, written by Eugene Trevises, illustrated by Helen Oxenbury. The True Story of the Three Little Pigs, written by John Cheska, illustrated by Lane Smith. Yo, Hungry Wolf, written by David Bozar, illustrated by Betsy Lewin. And The Three Little Javelinas, written by Susan Lowell, illustrated by Jim Harris. You can find these and other books at your local library.
Major funding for Storytime is made possible by a grant from Helen and Peter Bing, so that families everywhere can share the joy of reading with their children. Additional funding is provided by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting and by the annual financial support from viewers like you. Storytime is a production of KCET Los Angeles.